What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one and only Ash Said It, ashsaidit.com, ashsaidit.com. Welcome back to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. I appreciate and love you guys so very much. Thank you for all of your support, all of the love, all of the shares, everything. I really appreciate that. I do check the emails. I do try to double check and triple check social media throughout the day. So I appreciate you guys so very much. You guys know that I always have some surprise guests that come through. And today we are blessed to have the CEO of the Social Diva Media, Miss Peg Samuel. Peg, how are you?
Hi, I love that intro. Thank you so much. I'm great. Thank you for having me on.
Awesome sauce. All right, Peg, so let our listeners know, where are you from? Where do you represent?
So I live in New York, and I've got a boutique social media agency called Social Diva Media.
Okay, cool beans. So, Peg, let's rewind a little bit. We'll go into your childhood aspirations. What did you want to be as a child?
I almost am going to LOL this question. I can't even think about that because I have been in digital for so long. And honestly, digital wasn't even out until I was in the workforce. So I don't know whether as a child, as a child, I'm from New Jersey. And I thought, I kind of want to hit the big city. So here I am in New York.
Okay, cool beans. So what was your first job like?
So my first job out of college, I did ad sales in New Jersey, and then I went and moved to actually Atlanta, and my first bigger job was I worked at the Weather Channel, and then I also worked at the Travel Channel, and when they sold the Travel Channel, they had this little thing called weather.com that they were launching, and they said, you really seem to like the internet, so why don't you go work on that? I was so psyched when email came out. People say, wait, how did you communicate with each other before email? I don't understand. I'm like, we did fax a lot, but we used the telephone.
Awesome stuff. So let's fast forward some, because your resume precedes itself. I mean, honestly, I don't think we have a full day to go through all of your many accomplishments, which I know is nothing short of hard work. So I tip my hat to you, Peg.
Thank you.
But so let's jet off to 2010. All right. So the launch, Social Diva Media. What was that experience like?
Yeah, totally. This is great. And because of who your listeners are, I'm just going to get real and transparent. So from weather.com to 2010, I was working full-time jobs and launching my brand socialdiva.com. And it was many things. The last thing it was really was like a daily candy. So it was an email newsletter with events, and I was DJing. I had a book. I had CDs. I had all this like fabulousness happening, right? And then meanwhile, the economy was getting crushed. And I was also looking for funding for the business, because it was at that particular time that, I'm now living in New York, which is expensive, period. And it just wasn't working. I kind of hit my end to the brand. And to just give you transparently, I just said, okay, well, what's next? What am I going to do next? I don't even know. And I was heading to South by Southwest, which is a digital conference. And I thought, I can't even talk about this anymore. Like, what am I doing next? And I just made it up. I just said, I am a social media expert, and that's what I do. And then what happened was I talked to a branding expert, and she said, you know what? You still got to use the same name, just add media. You just have so much brand equity with it. I know you might be mad at it because it didn't do what you wanted it to do, but it's the perfect name for this business. So in the last 7 years, I've been really, doing a new business. So Social Diva Media, just putting all my, contacts and everything. And I hustled. I emailed everybody I knew for work, and talked about it everywhere once I was re-engaged with this brand. And things just fell into place in a big way. I landed, helping out with the Summer Olympics. I tweeted about that. My friend saw it and then hired me for the Grammys. So I was getting these big gigs. And then I used those to leverage myself to get all kinds of other stuff.
Gotcha. So during that transition time when, you're jumping out on your own and you're letting people know, look, I am the social media influencer. I'm doing all these different things. What was the biggest challenge that you faced?
What a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. So even though I worked on the Olympics and the Grammys, people I noticed would say to me, yeah, everybody calls themselves an expert in social media. Mm-hmm. And they'd say it every time I talked like a pitch. And lucky for me, I just manifest/stumbled upon being able to guest speak at NYU. Mm. And then when I went into, NYU, I went to some networking kind of event that they had. They asked me to guest speak and to actually be an adjunct professor. Mm. And that I would bring up, and I still lead with that, like, hi, I'm, these are the things I do, and I'm an adjunct at NYU. And I never heard that, oh, everybody calls themselves an expert anymore. What I heard was, wow. So I think if I was going to give somebody that advice, it's take your whatever you do so well that you do, where is it you can kind of get endorsements so other people see it large as well, and also notice those conversations. I mean, I noticed they were saying that. So, another thing could be get yourself in the press, or, what else could maybe endorse you other than you.
Gotcha. Wow. That is awesome. And now your company has grown and is one of the most respected media outlets just to date. It's just one of the big ones that people recognize and look to. So what would be the next phase for the company?
That's a great question, too. I'm loving all your questions.
Yay!
So what would be the next phase? I think, sometimes, and this is what I'll tell, this is perfect, again, transparently for your listeners, sometimes the clients we get are not essentially maybe potentially our favorite kinds of gigs, meaning if I was to say, oh, I'd love to work with all entertainment, or I want to work with socially responsible, or I want to work with authors, I get to do all those things and they're lovely, but it's not always in my way or how I see it. Like we do take, sometimes along the way we've taken business for just saying, okay, this is an interesting company and it's going to pay the bills. Let's do this and we can really make an impact. So I'm not saying we've taken clients that we don't like, or maybe we actually have in the past, but ideally next phase is what I see is what I'm passionate about, and what I see coming up next is the kind of stuff I want to work on. It doesn't mean I get to work on that stuff 100% of the time. So to answer your question more specifically, I'm kind of merging my old socialdiva.com self with my current media agency and making it more fluid and hip and joyful. So it brings me joy because I wrote a book called Facebook Marketing Like I'm 5, and it tells all the basics around social media. After writing it and promoting it, I realized that really doesn't give me joy to tell the basics. I like what's happening next. And so for me, there's two areas that I think are big. I mentioned, I think when we were talking before we were live, that I'm loving the Generation Z. Yeah. They are bigger than millennials. I think I read they're 14-year-olds to 20 or 13 to 24, something like that. Right. And they're bigger than the baby boomers. They're bigger than the millennials. I really dig them, and they're the up and comers. And I have one on my staff that's amazing. And then so keeping an eye on them and what it is, right? I really dig. And then the other thing that I'm liking is I do like entertainment. I love celebrity and I love social good. And if all of those things can be wrapped into one client, that's interesting. Because I think for a product right now, it's hard to break through into the marketplace. So if somebody can align themselves with an influencer, whether it's a smaller influencer or on a big scale a celebrity, that will help cut through a lot of noise because they have everybody's attention already.
Good point. All right, Peg. So with your experience and your resume and all the no's that came to you, because, it wasn't necessarily, oh, yes, Peg, we want to work with you. We want everything to be perfect with you. With all your experiences and the different gigs that you've had throughout the years and the different connections and relationships that you've made, what advice would you offer to any person, any young person that's out there now that is listening to this all across the world, and they're like, hey, I want to do that social media stuff too? What advice would you offer them today?
That's another great question, right? So one of the things that I even say at my NYU class, which it's like a PR social media conversion type class, is that the relationships are really top, right? So it's about the relationship, and if somebody has business relationships, that they're really mindful around it. Or even if they're, say, younger and just trying to get a meeting with somebody, think about what value that they can bring to that person, or what are they asking? Meaning, don't ask me to go to lunch, right? And it might take me 20 minutes to get there, and then an hour of my time there. So then it's 2 hours and I don't know you. But if you really want to have a meeting with me, offer to bring a coffee by, my workplace. Or if you saw on my Instagram, I like matcha tea, like something like creative, right? So being mindful of the person on the other end of the ask, or even the email, or even if they're already, your friends for 20 years. I have friends now because we've been friends so long, and, you said, like, my resume is so strong. So I have friends that are at top positions, and even when they email me with a request, I will do it in whatever way that works for them. Obviously, we're friends, but I take into consideration their schedules. Maybe I do have to make the appointment through their assistant, maybe whatever, and just respect that, yeah, we know each other and we're tight, but if we're talking business, let me work within their criteria, and then I'm a professional on the other side.
Absolutely. Peg Salmon, you guys. Peg, let everyone know the best way that they can get in contact with you if they need to reach you.
So anybody can check out my website, socialdivamedia.com, and you can contact me through that. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's at Social Diva, or Twitter is at Social Diva as well. And my Facebook is also Social Diva. It's all across the board.
Cool beans. All right. Thank you so much, Peg. I'm representing the A-Town right now. I'm back in Atlanta. I just got back up from Jacksonville. So we're making some strides. I'm making my way in and around the city, but who knows? I may be in Jersey soon. I'll hit you up.
I love it.
But I appreciate you so very much. Thank you, Peg. And thank you for everyone that has tuned in, everyone that's downloaded the show. I appreciate you beyond words. Keep in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face and tell them, don't believe me, just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. Because that's what we're doing this for. We're doing this for the history books. Social media is nice, it's cool, it's fun, but real life is happening now. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Deuces.